But yeah, so today, y'all, we have a special guest in the studio on the Secure Your Future podcast or whatever you want to call it. I like to call it a conversation. So, Miss Lena,
Hi.
introduce yourself and tell the people, what you do, how you bring value.
Of course. So my name is. Where should I be looking? By the way, should I just keep looking at you?
I mean, hey, you do it. This is you.
So my name is Lena Zuniga. You guys can hear me, okay? Still feel like it's far.
Just,
I'm gonna move.
So
who is Lena? Lena is a student of life. I love to just learn all things and then share that wealth and education with others. So I've been in the makeup industry for like 13 years. Started out with nothing. I actually come from the corporate world.
Okay.
I was doing accounting at the time, project management, all types of things, and then fell into makeup artistry when I was laid off. And so my son, I'll try to keep the story short, but I was a single mom living with my parents. My son was living and sleeping in the bed with me. I was working as an accountant full time. I was so excited because I just signed the lease to a new apartment. He was going to have his room for the first time. It was a really good time. And literally maybe like a couple days after I signed that lease, I got called into the office and they let me go. No severance, no warning, no get your stuff out. Security is going to escort you out.
Hey, what's up, you guys? First and foremost, thank you for tuning into this video. But before the video starts, I just want to encourage you guys, if you feel like this video is going to give you value, or if you've gotten value from previous videos and even from our community, I would encourage you guys to subscribe. Now, why do we want you guys to subscribe? We want to make sure that every time that we drop an episode or we drop a conversation or we interact with somebody on this conversation, that you guys get alerted to watch the episode. So we just want to say, make sure you subscribe. That'll help us not only get the information out to you, but also it'll help build the channel so that we can go and create better content, more efficient content, and also that we can get the people that you guys want us to interview in order to make this even more valuable for you guys. So just want to say thank you so much, and let's get back to the episode.
And I was like, oh, and it was the first time I had ever lost a job. So I cried on the way home. And then when I showed up to the house, I had to wipe my tears because my 8-year-old didn't know what tears really meant at that age. And I decided, like, you know what? I'm never going to work for anybody ever again. Because if they can just take my job from me with no warning, no nothing, I just can't live my life like that. That is terrifying for me, for a single mother. So I said, what am I going to do? I'm like, what am I good at? All my skills are like administrative skills, computer skills, like admin stuff. That's all I'm good at. So I said, the only other skill I have is makeup. I'm pretty decent with makeup. Never done it before, and then that's kind of how my journey started. I said, I'm just going to be a makeup artist. Had no clue what I was doing, had no money. I just had an apartment that I was moving into a week later. And 13 years later, I'm coaching makeup artists all over the world. We have students in my coaching program from Australia, London, Africa, India, Canada, like just from all parts of the world. And I'm helping them build their businesses. So that's kind of the short form of who I am and what I do.
That's what's up. Well, number one, congrats to
Thank
you for, that journey. What's crazy is that you say, as you're telling your story, it reminds me, we talked about this a little bit before, my mom. My mom had me at 14 years old.
Wow.
She was working when she graduated college. Go Gators. Sorry for you non-Florida Gator fans out there. She was working a job, making $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
And her mentor at the time, /godmother/mentor, was selling her house.
Mm-hmm.
And the commission from the real estate agent was $40,000.
Wow.
And so my mom saw that, and because of her environment, she saw that, and she made a decision to stop what she was doing. She quit her job, didn't put in a week's notice, whatever.
Yeah.
Got her real estate license, and years later, fast forward, married, 2 more kids. Her and my stepdad own a school building, own a school for 8-9 years now. So
yeah,
it's an incredible story.
That's amazing. And look at you following in her footsteps. That's a blessing.
Just trying to be 1% of what she is and what they are.
Oh, we got to send that to mom. Make sure you send that to mom.
No, 100%.
Right. We got it. Mm-hmm.
So, man, how was that transition from, I know you talked about, you didn't want to have that feeling, but how was the transition? How was it going from your corporate job, I guess having some type of stable income, to now, being an entrepreneur and a businesswoman where now you have, it's like, it's not really stable, but you kind of control your own destiny?
I think because I was a single mom when I lost my job, I was in survival mode. And I think when you're in survival mode, you have a different mindset on how you're going to execute on things that you want because you need them, right? So right now we have this whole trend of entrepreneurship and everyone's like, oh, it's cool to be an entrepreneur. I want to work for myself. I don't want to, answer to anyone. For me, it was like, I need to put food on the table. And this is the only skill I have right now that I can go and do that. So the hunger was there. And so the transition for me was actually pretty quick because I made the decision, and I think a lot of the times, and I talk about this when I do like my speaking engagements, when I do my coaching, I always tell people, if you just make a decision on what it is that you're going to do with your life, everything starts to open up for you. Because on a scientific level, when you decide on something, little neural pathways in your brain start to open up to support that decision. So your brain actually starts to search for clues to make that decision. So some people call that manifestation. Some people call that luck, right? But that's really what happens. I decided I'm not going back to work. I'm going to make this makeup thing work. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anyone that's a makeup artist. I don't even know, am I supposed to work at a counter? Am I supposed to go? I didn't know. So I did the best that I could. I got a little bit of, small little makeup kit. I went door to door. Back then, Instagram wasn't a thing. Now it's easy.
Right.
You didn't have all those things back then. You had to actually, I'm sure your mom can relate to this, right? When you're trying to sell a product or service. So I did a lot of door-to-door stuff. And then eventually, I just wouldn't take no for an answer. And I think that that's something that's missing right now with entrepreneurs. And I think this entrepreneurship trend will eventually decline because people are going to realize it's actually really hard to be an entrepreneur. You actually have to go all in on your business, both financially, mentally, even physically, right, to make it work. So the transition for me, I want to say oh my God, it was so hard. I was out there struggling. Struggling wasn't an option. I had a kid I had to feed and I had a lease I couldn't get out of. So I made it work. Does that make sense? Does that kind of answer the question?
It makes total sense. If you can go back 10 years ago from today, from this moment right now, based off what you know, based off your experiences, based off all the things that you've learned, the knowledge that you have now, what would you tell yourself 10 years ago from today?
10 years ago, I think I would say, first of all, you're doing okay. It's okay. You're going to get there. Just keep doing exactly what you're doing. If you could work a little bit harder, just work a little bit harder, but you're on the right path. Because I think you have this idea when you start a business that it's going to just work, right? Oh, I got a good idea. I know it's going to work. Everyone's going to love this and they need what I have. And really what happens is you realize it doesn't happen overnight. And I think 10 years ago, I was in that impatient state of mind of it's working, but it's not working fast enough. I'm not where I want to be.
Right.
It took me 13 years to get to where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? So I think the advice would be you're good. It's going to happen. You keep working hard. Don't give up. Keep pushing, which is basically what I did. And be proud of yourself and enjoy the journey because at the end of the day, it's what you learn in the process that makes you so great at the end when it's finally delivered to your doorstep.
No, 100%. There's this thing called instant gratification. And I remember when I was in high school, when I first got to high school, and played basketball. It was a top basketball program at the time. My coach will always say, there's no such thing as instant gratification.
Facts.
And at the time, you never really understand it because, as a freshman and you're pretty decent, you want to play all the minutes, take all the shots. But it's no, you have to really work at what you're doing and kind of rely on the compound effect of what you're doing over a period of time. If you're consistent, then you'll eventually get to where you want to go.
I think instant gratification is the biggest facade, right? It's not real. It just isn't real. Every time you look at someone successful, you want to assume oh, I'm sure that must have came to them so easy. No, just because you see their wins, you don't get to see their losses. I think the only people that get it are people like you and me who actually know what it is to put the work in day after day after day. Now, whenever I see a millionaire, a billionaire, someone super successful, I'm man, I know they worked to get there. My mindset 15 years ago would have been completely different. I think I would have looked at them with oh, they're so lucky. Wow, I want to be able to do that one day. But it's a different level of respect when you are an entrepreneur and you've been doing it for so long. When you look at them and you're I know they put the work in. Kudos to you. Because, man, it's hard to get to your first million. I can't even imagine getting to 100, or a billion, whatever. So yeah, it's a mindset thing. And I think with our generation now, I'm a mom of a 19-year-old and I see it. This I want it now. I don't want to work for it. I see everyone on YouTube, Instagram having this success and it all feels it's so easy. And it's no, it's not easy. Sorry. It's actually the opposite of easy because now there's so many people trying to do what you're trying to do. So yeah, I don't believe in the instant gratification. I believe put the work in.
Right. I actually do believe in instant gratification.
How so?
In a different way, on a different perspective. So I understand what you're saying, and I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do believe in instant gratification, and because I've gone through some things like that where, trying to do something quick, and you do get gratified instantly, but it never lasts long, and that's kind of where I'd like change my perspective. And it's, if you want something to last long, then it's going to take time over a period of time. And I remember just in my early entrepreneurship days, even when I was playing sports growing up, you notice like when it's harder, it'll be harder up front, but it'll be easier on the back end. But when it's easier up front, the instant gratification, like you want to just get the quick fix, it'll never last because there's no great foundation.
Not only does it not last, but I think you assume that it's instant gratification because it happens so quick.
Right.
But really, it was years of you probably preparing for that moment. It was probably years of you maturing and having the mental model to be able to see an opportunity, jump on it, right, quickly. So it might appear to be, I think it's disguised as something that's instant, but actually there's a lot more behind it. Because, I one time I talked to this guy and he was a good friend of mine, but he was extremely wealthy. And he's like, people say success doesn't happen overnight, but it does. Literally, you'll meet the right person overnight. You'll have the right conversation. You'll sign the right deal. Those things happen quickly. What doesn't happen overnight is everything that needs to happen beforehand, right? And what needs to happen prior to make that moment even possible and to make that moment happen and for the alignment to happen for you to be there. And I was like, that's really interesting. Like, I never thought about it like that. He's like, no, it's going to happen overnight one day. One day, it's just going to be the right person, right time, right deal, right contract, whatever. And you're going to feel like, I can't believe it was that easy, until you realize, wait, it wasn't. I just put 15 years of work into doing all these things. And that's why it felt so easy. So yeah, I mean, it's all perspective at the end of the day, right? It's how you look at it.
Right. So let's get into it. So if somebody wanted to get into the industry that you're in, you say you're in the makeup industry.
Yeah.
That obviously means that you're a business, owner, business professional, entrepreneur,
Yeah.
A CEO, a founder. All the things that, we like to attract here, with our audience. If somebody wanted to get into what it is that you're doing, how would they even start? What's the starting point? And, how can you guide somebody through that process?
Oh my God. So there's two things, because I want to make it clear. Being a makeup artist is very different than being a makeup artist coach.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to answer both. So one, if you want to be a makeup artist and you've never done makeup before, just know that it's going to be a process that you're going to have to invest in yourself. You're going to have to invest in the right tools, the right makeup, and you're going to have to practice.
That's where you started though, right? As a makeup artist, right?
Absolutely. I started as a makeup artist and I know what the hell I was doing. But the one thing I did do was a lot of free makeup. And I worked for free and I touched as many faces as I possibly could because I needed to perfect my craft. I could not go out there charging what I charge now with the skill set that I had, right? Like, I wasn't a great makeup artist. I wasn't talented. And most makeup artists, they'll watch YouTube videos now, Instagram, and they're like, oh, I do my makeup so well. Oh, for sure, I'll be able to go and be a successful makeup artist. Not really, right? So my advice is, the thing you should be focusing on and spending all your time doing is perfecting your craft, perfect your products, right? Make sure that it's good, because otherwise it's not going to sell. It's not going to make you money. You're going to constantly be like hitting these roadblocks of like, I'm not making no money. No one's booking me. So that's one. You want to start, practice. Okay. Get good.
Before you get to the next thing,
Yeah.
though, you said something that was very, I believe in this concept.
Yeah.
When you talked about free, like, why did you do free and why? Like, what was the point of it?
So
when you could have
God.
like perfected your own craft by yourself and then charge. Well, what's the importance of doing free stuff and why?
So first and foremost, when you do something for free, doesn't mean you're not getting compensated with something that you need. Free, you're attaching monetary value to it, right? So I'm doing something for free. I'm not getting paid for it. Yeah, but you're getting, you're building a relationship with a potential customer, right? Because now you met someone, you networking, you're shaking a hand. Two, you're practicing your craft. You're getting good. You're getting better. And if you're not good at what you do, you're not going to go far, period, especially as an artist or as a creative, right? Three, you're getting the content that you need. You need to be able to show people that this is what you do. So you need to build your portfolio. You need to get photos. People are more willing to let you have those things when they don't have to come out the pocket, right? They're like, okay, I'm not going to pay you, but I'll let you get the pictures you need. And I'll let you get all the things that you need. So there's so many things. I mean, maybe none of us are getting paid right now, but we want to do this for whatever reason, right? X, Y, and Z reason.
Right.
So it's not working for free. And I wish people would stop looking at it like that, because I see a lot of people out there like, I don't ever work for free. My best opportunities came from free work that I did. I'm sure that may have happened for you too. It happens for most people, right? Collaborations, partnerships, things like that, where no one in the room is getting paid, but something bigger and greater is happening at the same time. So yes, work for free. Do what you got to do, right? Because it's going to make you better at what you have to sell and what you're offering.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Amari here. Listen, I had to interrupt the episode really quick because I really want to inform you guys on something that we just launched. We just launched Secure Your Future University. In the university, we have a specific academy that literally shows you how to trade. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a university that's teaching you the fundamentals of trading foreign exchange, trading crypto. We know that it's a big thing that's happening in the world, and we want to provide our audience with another tool that you can use, that even I can use, in order to learn how to extract money from the markets, right? And we want to do it for absolutely free, and we'll give you access to the university. And inside the university, we do prefer a particular broker. You can use whatever broker you want, but we love licensing and regulation. This broker is down below in the description. Once you become a part of the university, all you do is sign up for free with this particular broker, and then guess what? You have now access to the entire foreign exchange market. And I'm telling you, you will only see value in what we have to offer. So if you ever wanted to learn more about foreign exchange and cryptocurrency, well, guess what? Now we have it. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Yeah, I look at it as giving value, and there's 3 ways you can get into any room. And I always say this because this is how I started. Not the number one way, but one of the ways is you pay into a room, you pay the conference ticket, you pay for the VIP or whatever that means. But there's always another level that you have to pay into to get into a higher room. There's always more money that you can pay somebody. Yeah. Right? You can earn your way, which is, the accolades, I've hit in this rank, I've done this thing over this amount of time. So I have the, bravado, or I have the, I have the accolades to get into the room. Yeah, right? I am this, I have a title. Mm-hmm. But the number one way to get into any room and to stay in any room is to serve. Mm-hmm. And that's the number one form of leadership. Yeah. Being a servant leader. Yeah. And it's, when you do want to take a shortcut or take the faster route, there's nothing that most people can give there's nothing that you can probably give to somebody that is at a higher level than you that they haven't already experienced or they probably already have on their team, right? That they're going to just be willing to do, or that you can, no. But if you serve them and you save them time, that's their most valuable asset. You'll always be in some room with somebody giving tremendous value. And I always tell people, listen, if you want to get in any room, the number one thing you can do is probably pick up a camera in today's society. Yeah. So that's actually a really good point. Cause we just hosted a beauty and business summit here and it was super successful. We sold out tickets. It was a great event. And, the people that purchase a general admission ticket, let's say $97, right? They're there, they're going to sit down, they're going to consume all the content, listen to the speakers, and they came to learn. Right. But we had a couple volunteers who were like, hey, would love to be able to help, hands on deck. We would love to just kind of be a part of it. So not only do they get to learn from everything that the show that we're putting on for them and everything that the speakers are saying, but they're behind the scenes, right? They're learning. They're not just learning, what we want them to see. They're learning what it takes to put this on. So you get double the education. And I remember them versus anyone that purchased a general admission ticket. Right. So now they come to me and say, Lena, oh my God, that was amazing. By the way, do you have any questions? I want to help them because they help me. And I'm like, yeah, sure. What questions do you have? I charge for mentorship. I charge for my coaching services. I have no issues helping this person because, hey, they were the ones that came to me with something of value. So now it's my job to reciprocate and give them something of value. That's how you build strong relationships and connections. And that's how you get your way in. I mean, when, Musfara started working with me, that's kind of how it happened. She was kind of like, hey, would love to be, help however I can. She was working for free. Internship is what we called it. And now we're working together full time and she's up here with me, right? So there's so much power in just offering yourself, like you said, but also be a student. It's okay. And at any level, by the way, you don't have to, even when you've made it, be a student, show up, learn. And I tell my son this all the time because he's 19 right now. And he's trying to find a job and trying to figure out what to do for work. And I'm like, don't even worry about the money. You need to learn. Whatever you do, learn as much as you can. It's in your 20s, you don't work to earn, you work to learn. And I have to constantly be telling him that because he's all about, I just want to get paid. And I'm like, you want to get paid now? You want to have a future where you're good and you don't have to ever work again, right? So let's transition into the next part of it. So the first part is if you want to become a makeup artist, but what is the next part?
So the second part to that, member, was like, if you want to actually be a makeup artist coach, right? So I know there's a lot of makeup artists out there, especially the ones that follow me, that might be like, I could do that. I want to do that. Like, I want to teach. I want to give value. I want to change lives, which is essentially what I'm doing. I feel like that's what I'm doing. I'm changing the lives of these makeup artists who otherwise would stay stuck forever, right? And if you want to be a coach, there's a couple things. Number one, you have to actually be a good educator. Like, you have to know you have to understand human behavior. You have to understand how people learn. You have to understand that everyone learns at a different pace. So I think actually knowing how to educate, how to express the things that are, because it's, sometimes don't you realize you know things and you're like, I didn't even know I knew more than this person, but you're talking about it. You're like, wow, I know so much. I didn't even realize it, right? You have to know how to put that into a conversation or training or some sort, so they can grasp what you're trying to give them. And if you're not good at education, like you're not a good teacher or educator, it's going to be hard for you. People are not going to learn from you. So number one is make sure you can actually educate, practice, go on social media maybe and just start like giving out tips and things like that. Go on your stories and then see how people react, see what feedback, you get, and you get better at it with like just doing it that way. Two is understand there's a lot of responsibility with being an educator. Like, so much responsibility comes from it. Don't go selling a program unless you know your program is going to actually help people. I think people just want to be an educator because they're like, oh, it must be so much money to be a coach online. It must be so much money, to have a program that sells at thousands of dollars. Yeah, when someone invests thousands of dollars to work with me, I need to make sure they get their money back plus like 10. Right? That's a huge, huge responsibility, because if they didn't have that money to invest with in the first place, and I'm here collecting all this money from them, and now they're like, I just spent $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in this coaching program and I'm not getting my money back. Oh my God, I gotta feed my kids. Oh my God, I'm in survival mode. Oh my God, that falls on me. You're like robbing people, right? So don't call yourself an educator unless you really are ready to take that title on, because it's a huge responsibility.
Well, let me ask you this question, because like most people in any industry, it's like 90% of people fail in any industry. 95% of people fail in any industry. So even if you do, and I want to know your perspective, even if you do coach somebody, like there's a high chance that, and not just you, anybody in the coaching space, right? Anybody that's teaching somebody something, there's a high probability that that person isn't going to, maybe even reap the monetary rewards. Like, what do you say about that part? Because I kind of struggle with that.
That's a really interesting perspective. So basically what you're saying is 95% of people are going to fail. Statistically, we know that, right? They're not going to reach their goal. But everyone has a different goal. So when I talk to the makeup artists in my program, I say, hey, how much do you want to earn every month? This one might be like 5,000. I'm good. I'm happy at 5,000. Great. This one's telling me 20K. I'll be good at 20K a month. That's what I want to earn. This one's like 50,000. I would love to earn $50,000 a month. Great. So everyone already has different goals for themselves. So technically the success is what they want. It's not what I want for them. Like if I say, hey, everyone, if you take my program, you're going to earn 6 figures in your business. But most of them don't even want to earn 6 figures. They just want to do better than what they're doing right now.
Right.
So to me, that is having success. Now, do most people like hit it at the park and start earning 20, 30K? You have to be willing to put the work in. So a good coaching program will, one, bring you results, even if it's small, right? Like even if it's something, but it will take you to the next level, no matter if that level is super high or it's just, something small. And a good coaching program will basically shine light on all the reasons why you're not actually seeing success. Meaning some of the girls in my program right now, and not many, thank God, but the few who are still kind of like struggling,
right?
They know it has nothing to do with me or the program. They know it's them. Because they'll be like, I know it's me because you've given me all the tools, all the resources. I'm just lazy. I just rather party than actually put the work in. And they're the ones that come to me like, Lena, is me. I know it's me. So that's what a good coaching program will do. It'll show you why you're not making it at the minimum. Like sometimes people just need to know like, oh, it's damn, like I thought that investing in a coaching program was going to be all the answers. It's not. If you invest in a trainer and that trainer's with you 5 times a week and working out with you and telling you what to eat, but you go home and you love to eat ice cream and drink alcohol, you're going to come back to the trainer and say, hey, that didn't work. No, you're going to say, it's I'm the problem.
Right.
And sometimes that is the problem that needs to be solved. Nothing else.
Yeah. It's a deeper root sometimes, and it's being able to pull the belief out of somebody. you know, because when you believe in something, you know, it's like kind of you have to lie to yourself. I'm not saying be a liar, but you know, you have to lie to yourself until you become. You have to act
Gotta
as if you are.
be delusional, they say.
Yeah, Delulu, right?
Yeah.
You have to act as if you are before you become. And I even think with like teaching and coaching, I think you can technically teach at any level.
100%.
But I think what a lot of us have to work on is not teaching at levels we haven't been at. So even if you're at a 0, right? You got 2 or 1 because you learned from somebody, you found a mentor, you found your group of people that you need to grow with. You know, you get to a level 3. You can always teach the person who's starting at 0 because then you can show them how to get to a level 3. You may not can show them how to get to a level 10, but you can show them how to get to a level 3. And as you get to another level, you can always teach according to which level you know you are. And I believe that you eventually will make more money teaching what it is that you do because that pool becomes bigger, right? You always have a mentor, mentors, people that you kind of follow, and that's like middle school. Most people have like 3 to 5 mentors.
Yeah.
Then you have a group of people that, you know, you growing with, people who may not be doing the same thing, right? You may be in, you know, beauty, you know, I may be in speaking or whatever, for example. And, you know, we may have our 10 to 15, you know, group of people that were, okay, that person's doing that, or they just, I got to go harder. Or like not comparing yourself, but like, you know, healthy competition.
Yeah.
But the bigger the pool you teach, you know, the more money you make. So I agree with, you know, teaching is important, but then also, you know, we just have to start teaching according to where we are. You just teach lower than what you are to bring people to where you are.
100%. You will always earn more with what you know than what you do. Always, right? So everyone that has made it, talk about lawyers, talk about consultants, talk about whoever, you actually earn way more money by teaching people, right? But I always tell people, you don't have to be an expert to teach. You don't have to be an expert to educate. You just have to know more than the average person. That is it. You become an expert through the education process. So like for me, when I started my program 2-3 years ago, I thought I know what I'm doing. I could help these girls. I can definitely make them money. And to be honest with you, my very first, you know, group of girls that I mentored did really, really well. 2 years in the game, I know more than I could have ever thought I would learn, you know, because you learn by doing, hearing their problems, problem solving with them, being hands-on. They taught me so much more than I ever thought that I was going to learn. So I became even more of an expert by actually being in it and teaching. So just start where you are. Like what you're saying, if you want to be a coach, just start where you are. Know that you probably know more than the average person in your space. And start there. And to your point, you kind of level up as you continue to grow and learn on your own. But I guarantee you that the actual process of teaching and educating is going to make you 10 times the expert. Right. But if you never start, you're never going to get there.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
So now for people who are now interested in what you want to do, like what's the most amount of money that somebody can make, you know, in your industry doing what it is
as
that you do?
As a coach?
Hey, this
10 million, maybe? Okay. It's about scaling your coaching business, right? So now we're talking about something different. It's really
so let's talk about the coaching. Let's talk about the coaching side, and let's also talk about as a makeup artist as well.
Yeah. So as a makeup artist, I mean, so here's the thing: makeup artistry alone is not a scalable business, right? You can't scale your services. You can't scale yourself. You can't multiply yourself into 20, 30 people. It's impossible. So you'll always be capped at something. You'll always eventually hit that roadblock of I can't earn anymore because it's all I can physically do, right? So you'll eventually have to scale somehow, some way. The ways you scale is either for a makeup artist, selling and creating a physical product, right? Maybe a makeup product, a makeup line, whatever. Having a team. So having a team of artists working under you that you can kind of like send out and collect commission off of your artists, right? You send them out to jobs and stuff like that. And the third way is through education, right? So you can have an education like what I do, have a program, a coaching program. You can teach in-person classes because you can fill it up with as many people. That is scalable. Those models are scalable. So as a makeup artist, I mean, you could probably earn a good maybe $500,000 up to $1 million as a makeup artist. But
you can make $1 million as a makeup artist?
You would have to have a certain type of clientele.
Right.
Like if it's just like brush to face, you would have to be working with Like we're talking about celebrity clients, campaigns. Like you'll have to have a day rate of at least $10,000, $20,000. There are not that many makeup artists that do it, but there are makeup artists that do earn that type of money. But that is it. There's always going to be a limit to how much you can earn, and you physically have to be doing it 24/7. It's physically exhausting, and eventually you're going to get burnt out, period. So all those makeup artists right now who are working, and they're like, man, I'm getting tired. Like I can't keep doing this. They're going to have to figure out a way to scale. And they do. Most of the time, they'll come out with their own makeup line. And then most of the time, they'll start educating and doing other things because it's the only way. Now, as an actual coach, sky's the limit, right? Because that's now, if you know how to scale a business through like paid ads and you have a funnel and all those things, I mean, you can grow that as big as you want. You can one day sell your business. There's just so many ways you can make money.
How do you market yourself?
Same way.
What is the marketing like? I want to know.
So how do I market myself, as a coach or as a makeup artist?
It's both.
Okay.
I'm sure you do both. I'm sure you're not just a coach, right? You still do makeup for other people?
Barely.
So what requires you to come out of the house and do makeup for somebody?
It has to be a client that I've worked with, that I love and genuinely enjoy working with. It has to be an opportunity that I really want to be a part of, something that I'm going to have fun with. And obviously the price has to be right for sure. It's just because I'm very busy now, so I don't really have the bandwidth to take on clients.
Right.
But I will never completely quit it, to be honest with you, because I feel like if I'm coaching makeup artists, I have to stay up to date with the trends, with the latest techniques. And so I'm always going to have my hand in it. I won't completely quit. And I know a lot of coaches out there quit completely. And I'm just like, that's going to last you maybe 12 months, 24 months before you start falling behind, because now you don't know what to coach your girls on because you're not in the game, right? So I'll always stay in the game for, even if it's that 10%.
So it's important to kind of have you gotta stay
the expert.
Into the streets.
You gotta stay the expert, right? Like, so period. And then what was your second question you asked me? I lost it. Do you remember? You lost it too.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick conversation. I forgot too.
It was the coaching. Moose, you have a good memory. What were we talking about right now?
Yeah, help us out over here real quick. And we're keeping this in there too.
Everyone. But anyway, so basically.
Shout out Dan.
We were talking about, it's not a scalable business.
Right.
You were talking about like how much money, like how to market myself. There you go. Sorry. All right. So to answer your question, how to market myself. So as a makeup artist, you market yourself the best way everyone knows how. Social media is the number one way, because 79% of consumers will go on Instagram to find their glam squad, their makeup artists. It's all about pictures and videos. We have to believe that someone is good at what they do in order to hire them. So being on social media, which I don't understand why makeup artists are not using it all the time when it's the number one way to get leads. It's the number one lead generation tool. Everyone has to be. If you're in business and you're not on social media, I don't believe you're in business. And it doesn't matter what line of business that you're in at this point, whether you could be a doctor, an attorney, it doesn't matter. You have to be building a presence, right? Because otherwise, one day you will want to do something outside of the skill that you have right now. And the way that you're going to do that is by building an audience, right? So I always tell people, visibility is your responsibility. If you're not making yourself visible, then guess what? Your business will always just kind of hit that wall of like, well, people don't know who we are. They can't buy into our product or service. They can't pay us. Our business will eventually go downhill. Meanwhile, you got all these other people, your competitors, who are just going crazy with social media content, and they're outdoing you by far. So what's the solution? Just keep posting, keep creating content. So marketing on social media if you're a makeup artist. If you are a makeup artist coach.
Do you have to pay for that marketing? Like if somebody wanted to get started, not to cut you off, somebody wanted to get started and they were like, all right, I want to get marketing, but my budget isn't, I don't have the budget of X, Y, and Z. How can somebody start for free?
Yeah, you do not have to spend any money.
Is it possible?
You have a phone, and our cameras, our phone now. This is all the camera you need. You invest in some lighting equipment on Amazon. I'm sure you can get something for like $150, right? Like 2 nice lights. All you need is people that you can do makeup on. That is all you need. You don't have to spend money in paid advertisement. You don't have to. If you are consistently posting on social media and posting high quality images of your work, if your work isn't great, obviously you're not going to get the traction that you want. But if you got good work and you're showcasing high quality images and videos of your work, it's inevitable. You're going to get followers. You're going to get leads. You're going to get customers, right? So for the coaching, however, you're going to have to eventually, unless you have a large following, because I do know coaches who have like 200, 300,000 people that follow them. And that's enough, meaning they're very, very good with their organic content, that they can basically funnel people in through their organic content and they can sell their coaching services. We are halfway there, meaning like half of our leads come from organic content. The other half comes from paid advertisement. The goal is always to never have to do paid advertisement, right? To just do it organically. But honestly, paid ads, I don't know if you guys run paid ads, but paid ads is where it's at, because then that grows your business way faster. You can 10x your business depending on how much money you're putting behind ads. So that's essentially what we do.
Yeah, no, that's good. We don't really run paid ads per se. What we do is, well, what I do personally is, because I've had a couple of videos lately that have done 2 million, 1 point something million.
Oh, you're famous.
I'm not famous. It's just a certain way you post content.
Famous with no profile pic.
I don't have a profile pic. It doubles your views, guys, just to let you guys know.
Please, we have to make sure we get this on camera, because you don't have. I'm really, honestly, like, I'm not trying to be funny. I thought it was a very interesting concept, because I know that's done on purpose, right? And to your point earlier, when you were like, yeah, I invited you one time to be on a boat, you probably ignored me. I probably saw your profile and was like, there's no picture here. It's probably...
No, I had a picture then.
Did you?
I just wasn't
so
big
this
enough.
is a new thing.
I wasn't important enough.
Okay. No,
it's okay, but we're here.
That's not true. That's not true.
At the time also, if you know, so two things.
Back time messages and...
So 2 things. So I believe in divine timing.
Yeah.
I believe that God allows things to happen when it's supposed to happen.
100%.
But then also, it's like, if you would have met me in that capacity, I may have not, you know, it just would have been maybe different, you know. But now we're meeting here.
Yeah.
We have a podcast studio now. We have a kind of more official setup.
Yeah.
You know, we're not doing like the online thing, which is, we still do that, but this is a more official setting. And also we have, you know, from that time, 2 years now into our ecosystem. So it's like more proven. So, I mean, this is that, like, timing works. But then also with the whole marketing thing, I do believe in ads eventually. But I think when I think about people, I think about the masses.
Yeah.
And what is the less amount of friction in order to get somebody to start something. And so that's how I think in general.
Yeah.
And when it comes to events, when it comes to this stuff, you know.
I think you do a lot more in-person stuff too than what I do, since I run an online coaching business. Like, I have to increase my audience online, right? So there's only so much I can do with the people that follow me. After a while, you kind of have to start reaching people who don't follow you. So that's the reason for the paid ads.
There's an easier way to do it. So I agree with paid ads. I think if you have the capacity to do paid ads, you should. But you should only do paid ads with stuff that's already going viral, because people already like it. And if people are already outside of your own following are looking at it, commenting on it, that is the piece of content that you should then do paid ads with. I don't believe in just doing a paid ad or 5 paid ads, because you don't have a sample size. How can you get a sample size of a piece of content? You do organic and you see how that piece of creative is already doing by itself. If it's going viral, go put some ads behind it, because usually when people are going viral, they're going viral to other audiences, not theirs. That's how you get the 99%, 80% of non-followers. And that's how I think that people should post ads.
I just want to be clear, like, when I talk about ads, it's not the boost your post stuff, because I think when I say ads, people get confused and they're like, oh yeah, no, I do paid ads too. Like, I'll put $5 behind this Instagram post or $25. And I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually hiring a media buyer who runs your ad campaigns, who does all of the analytics of like, okay, these are the people in your niche. This is the type of ads that they run that works for them. Here's some similar things that might work for you. Like, it's actually a science to it, which is why we don't do it ourselves. We hire someone, we outsource that stuff. And yeah, it's basically to increase your visibility. The nice thing about having paid ads is you have a very specific message behind your creative, because when you do post something that goes viral, 1 million views or whatever, I guarantee you that's the content that brings more awareness and more people to your page. Not necessarily are those types of content going to convert into a paid customer. There is a difference. So if you actually pay attention, I don't know how you run your content, but at least for me, when I post a creative or I post a reel, for example, that's more authoritative, I'm selling something very specific, usually my engagement on those are very low, but that's the one that converts the most, because I'm 100%. Having a direct conversation with the people who are willing to buy my product, versus the ad or the reel that went viral to 1 million, 2 million. That's an awareness content or like experimental or entertainment content. It's shareable content that brings awareness and people to my page, but not necessarily bringing them to my funnel. So there's a little bit of a science behind it. You kind of have to know it and be in it to like fully understand the concept. But just so you guys know, it's not boosting actually don't think you should be ever paying for boosting your ads. I think that is, you know, Instagram's way of monetizing on people's content and making a lot of money without actually pushing your content in front of the right people. Where when you have an ad campaign, you're being selective about who sees that content. So I have very mixed feelings about this boost ads thing. And I think people like, don't waste your money, like get better content and boost it yourself. You know, like
no, 100%.
That you'll spend so much money and you'll get more views, sure, but you don't even know who's seeing it. There's no way to track that data. And so that's why we don't do that. Yeah.
No, that's dope. No, that's a great perspective. I love it, actually. I love what you were saying. It's about, you know, niching down pretty much and trying to find your direct audience.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I have this like belief, like, you know, you should build, it's like a funnel. You should build wide and then eventually just niche it down.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So that's good.
Absolutely. That's a great point, actually. That's what we're trying to do. I'm like, all right, I have a goal. I want to hit over 100K followers on Instagram.
Where you at right now?
I think I'm like 82,000.
Okay.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
I'm almost there. We're growing.
Away. Make sure y'all follow her. What's your Instagram?
It's at Lina Zuniga Official. Okay.
Make
so if you
sure
just type in LINAZ like a zebra, I'll pop up.
There you go.
Because it is a long one. But that is a great concept, right? It's right now I'm still creating content that speaks to makeup artists of all levels. So I'll create like makeup videos and stuff like that, shareable content that's,
right,
you know, makes people want to come follow me. But once I hit a certain point, I'm going to niche down to just, all right, we're here for business. We're going to talk more business stuff. And so it'll be more of what I want to create, right? But yes, you need the audience. Let me tell you something. Best piece of advice I ever got was from this guy that just podcast. His name is Scott. Awesome guy here in South Florida, and he's got maybe like 2 million now or almost 2 million
Scott
followers.
Derry.
Yeah, you know him?
Yeah, he was supposed to come to my event, but he was sick. And
okay.
That's my guy.
Yeah, Scott is awesome.
Shout out Scott.
Yeah, he's great. And when, you know, like we've like hung out, him and his girlfriend and I, whatever. So I'm talking to him and I was like, Scott, so when I first sat down with him, I was like, so what do you sell? You know, because I know you have this podcast, you have a ton of followers. Like, what are you selling? And he's like, I don't sell anything. This is maybe a couple years ago, so he might be selling stuff now. But he's like, I don't sell anything. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't. I do well with my podcast. I have other things that I do. And I was like, oh, interesting, because you have such a large following. I assumed. He's like, no, that's why I build my following. Because one day I'm going to sell something. I'm going to want to sell a product or service or a membership, subscription, whatever the hell he is doing now. And I'm going to have the audience already. And so when he said that, I was like, that's genius. And anyone who's in the digital space, even if you have nothing to sell right now, even if you don't have a product, a digital product, a physical product or a service, you should be collecting people. And so I tell my son this all the time because I'm like, you're 19 right now. You're in college, you're focused on something else. Create a page, build it and grow it and just get people to follow you. Make it about one thing, you know, niche down, because you know how the algorithm is. It likes niche markets. And build your audience. And eventually when you want to sell something, you already have the audience to sell to. Because that's the hardest thing, is getting people to follow you and see what you're selling. So that was great advice. And I say that to everyone. I'm like, don't worry about, well, right now I don't have, what's the point? You never know when you're going to want to sell something, you know? You're looking at me with these eyes. I don't know if they're like.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Now these glasses are very you know?
I know. I really like them, actually.
Yeah, they're my buddy's glasses.
I really
Brandon
like
Vega.
them.
He has his own. We're from the same city. He's from Miami Gardens.
Oh, nice. I grew up near Miami Gardens.
Yeah. And he has his own.
Miami Gardens isn't a city, though. But most people talk about Miami Gardens like it's a city.
Well,
it's a street.
No, Miami Gardens is a city.
Is it a city?
Yeah, like
it is a city?
Yeah.
I always thought it was just like that one long like strip.
You talking about like 183rd?
Yeah.
That's the street.
So that area right there is called
like,
Miami Gardens. Oh, interesting.
So it's called Carroll City for real. So Carroll City, Florida, like Carroll City High School.
I'm familiar with Carroll City, but I'm like, that's not where Carroll City is.
Yeah,
it's Carroll City more like
Carroll City and Miami Gardens are like the same thing.
Interesting.
But
hood,
nobody
y'all.
calls it
hood.
Nobody calls it Carroll City anymore. It's just Miami Gardens.
I still call it Carroll.
I mean,
I refer to it like that because when I was growing up, that's what we called it. We called it Carroll City.
I refer to it like that. I say Carroll City also because if somebody knows what it is, and it's like, oh, it creates a level of.
That's the thing. We never grew up saying Miami Gardens. We never said, I live in Miami Gardens, ever. It was like, I live in NMB. I live in Carroll City. It was kind of like New York. You know how New York has its boroughs?
Yeah.
I never heard anyone ever say, I live in Miami Gardens, ever.
Yeah, people say it now.
But now I think now they say it now. Yeah.
You know, 100%. But yeah, these are my buddy's glasses.
I like them.
He has a book. He's all type of stuff.
Are they like prescription glasses?
They're not prescription. They're what do you call them? Like blue light glasses.
Oh.
So like when I'm reading on my phone.
I really like them.
Yeah, they're good, nice and sturdy.
How much do they cost? Putting them on blast. Send me the link.
I'll send you the link. I'll put the link in the description below too.
Send me the link because they're nice. I like them.
I'll connect you with him. He's a great guy. Great guy.
Yeah.
Talks and he does he speaks in front of like colleges and things of that nature. Gets flown out.
Nice.
Yeah,
love that.
Very great guy.
Love that.
He's short, but he's good.
So, hey, that's not nice. You just keep calling people out.
These are my friends, though.
They're short. He's short.
These are my friends. Yeah, what is something that you've learned throughout your podcasting journey, throughout your entrepreneurship, and throughout your business, journey?
Something that I've learned. Oh my God, what haven't I learned? I've learned a lot.
Like some life lessons that you could take away with you.
A couple things. One, you can't do it by yourself. You can't. Stop assuming that you can because you can't. If you try to do it alone, which you are going to do it alone for a while, right? You're going to be a solopreneur for a while. And many people, I always say this to people and they laugh when I say it, but many people are entrepreneurs. They want to be entrepreneurs, but they're not quite there yet. They haven't gone all in mentally into their business, right? And so when you want to step into being a entrepreneur to an entrepreneur, you're going to have to cut down that 9-to-5 job. You're going to have to cut out certain things, certain relationships, and really go all in on your business. And then you're going to want to go from entrepreneur eventually to CEO, because I don't think every entrepreneur is a CEO. I think in order to be a CEO, you actually have to have a company. You have to have at least one employee, right? And so that's where the magic really happens. You can't do it by yourself. I have a small team, but I have an amazing team. And I wouldn't be here or growing if it wasn't for them, because eventually you just can't physically take it all on your own, and you shouldn't, because you're not an expert at everything. Most founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs are visionaries, and they're good at one great skill, and the rest are going to have to outsource and get help in order to really blow it up and make it successful. So that was something I learned the hard way, because I was a person that was working 16 hours a day trying to do it all on my own. And I was like, you know what? Eventually I need help. How much money do I have to invest in help? I don't have a lot, but I can afford to pay X, Y, and Z amount of money. I brought in my first person. And then I was like, wow, I'm actually growing and doing things I would have not had time to do. So make sure that you're eventually factoring in the fact that you're going to have to hire somebody else at some point. So that's one. Two, it's not easy no matter what people tell you. No matter what people tell you, it's not easy, right? So my biggest advice for anyone who's starting out as an entrepreneur is to get a mentor. You need a mentor. And I don't care if it's like a friend or a family member or an old college professor, like it doesn't matter. You need someone who's going to help you cut the line, right? Like basically skip the line is what I say, because you're going to be figuring it out on your own for years. And it takes a lot of time and money to do that, where you can just find someone who's already doing the things that you want to do, pick their brain, have them give you the blueprint. You're going to put the time and energy and work into it anyway. You might as well be doing the right things. You might as well be following the right strategies. And I didn't have that either. I didn't have a mentor when I first started. It took me years to figure out, okay, I need help. I was just like, I gotta do it by myself. No, you don't. And you shouldn't, especially in today's age where there's so many people out there offering their mentorship and coaching services. Take advantage of it. Oh my God.
Right.
It's going to skyrocket your career.
100%. There's this argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get too controversial, but there's this argument of like the all natural versus like the person who wears makeup a lot, or makeup in general. What are your thoughts on, I know you're a coach, I know you're a makeup artist, and you look amazing. What are your thoughts on that? And is there a balance, or like how?
Is there a balance? What is the question exactly?
The question is, what are your thoughts on that topic? The natural, because you have a lot of people in the world that say, I want to be more all natural, right? Or I don't wear makeup, or makeup does X, Y, and Z. But then you have the other side that's like, no, there's makeup allows you to feel better about yourself. Maybe if you have some, things that aren't, you don't feel comfortable with.
I think you just answered it though.
But I want to hear your perspective.
You got to do what feels good to you.
Right.
How do you feel better about yourself? I feel better when I have some makeup. I don't feel that great when I have a lot of makeup. Like for me right now, this is a lot because I know I was going to be on camera. I know that being on camera, you have to have some makeup. It translates different, right?
I appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Are we big time yet?
Yeah. I had to really listen. I had to go all out for this.
Oh, come on now.
So, if it feels good to you to be the person like, I don't wear a lot of makeup, I feel better natural, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with the person who wants to pile on pounds of makeup either. The important thing is that you feel good, because when you feel good, you do good.
Right.
And that's all I have to say about it. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think when you look in the mirror, if you like how you look, then you're going to have a little more pep in your step that day, and then you're going to make it happen that day.
Right.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about, because it's easy to ask a makeup artist this question. I'm always going to give this type of opinion because I work with different women who they like either the natural look or the more, glammed up look.
Right, right.
As a man, how do you feel about the whole thing?
So me, I feel empathetic to every perspective. Like I understand why somebody is or somebody doesn't, like does or doesn't. I think for me, it's more of, I like all natural, but at the same time, like, I like all natural. I love all natural, but then I also love the fact that you feel like you feel good about, the things that you're wearing, or like, the makeup that you have on, or, extensions, or, in our culture, a lot of us, not me, but a lot of females wear weave or braids, and it's not their particular hair.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you feel good about yourself, then I feel good about it. Yeah. But then I also would love to let people know that you don't have to do those things in order to try to fit in. You want to do them because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And we're okay with you being all natural. We're okay with you wearing your hair out. We're okay with you, being your authentic self. But then also there's certain environments that, may require a little bit of, makeup, or, for you to switch up your hairstyle a little bit. And that's how I feel about it. I feel as if you're comfortable with it, it's great. But you don't have to do it to fit in with everybody else. But then also, like it's just I understand both perspectives.
If you're doing it to fit in, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
You shouldn't do it because you want to fit in. You should do it because you want to feel good. And when you feel good, you have a confidence level that helps you fit in naturally, because it's this natural, like, I feel good. So now,
100%.
Because I feel good and I look good and I'm confident, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna talk to people. I'm gonna be myself around people, right? So I think it's deeper than that, to be honest with you. And I always say, dress the way you want to be addressed.
Man, I say that when we host the networking events, people say, "What's the dress attire?" I'm like, dress how you want maybe your first impression to be. I don't know.
You dress. How do you want people to look at you and perceive you? And this is this is something I talk a lot about with my girls, because a lot of the times they're like showing up on jobs looking a hot mess, and they haven't brushed their hair. They don't have to wear. I'm like, you don't have to wear full makeup, even if you're a makeup artist. You really don't have to. But
you have to look presentable.
Look put together. You want to know why? I'm gonna tell you why. This is real talk. A woman is going to judge you based off how you look. If you're entering her home where she has her husband, her grown kids, her people, her family, and you've got a crop top and you're showing your stomach and you're looking all crazy, and now the husband's like, who the hell is this little hoochie? Guess what? You're not going to get called back again, right? Or on the flip side, hey, you're charging $500 for a makeup service. Okay, but I expect a $500 makeup artist to show up to my house professional and looking the part.
Right.
So it's all about your perceived value, about how people kind of like perceive you to be. You have to make sure it matches your branding. You have to make sure it matches your pricing. All those things really matter. But I see all the time with makeup artists, like they show up looking and I'm just like, did you mean to like not put any effort into you today? Those are the same ones that come to me that they're struggling in their business. I'm not working. I'm not charging a lot. I'm not making a lot of money. And I was like, are you even putting effort into you? You're selling beauty. You got to show up and look like you sell beauty. You don't have to be all dolled up because it's not feasible. It's exhausting and it takes a lot of work. But at least present yourself well enough. Like your mother, you showed me your Instagram. All I saw was beauty.
Yeah, she's fire.
All I saw was someone who cares about how she shows up.
Yeah.
Whether she was on stage or she was on a boat with her husband, she was with her kids, or she was at whatever she was doing, she looked put together. People trust her because they're like, well, if she can take care of herself and show up for herself this way, we know she's going to show up for us.
Right.
But if you don't even show up for yourself, how do you expect people to trust that you're going to show up for them?
No, exactly.
So if you can't do it, don't be a coach, by the way. Just FYI, because you really have to set the bar high when you're a coach, because people want to walk in your footsteps and do what you do.
No, 100%. I agree with that. So I guess my last question is this, when you hear the phrase secure your future, what does that necessarily mean to you?
Have a plan. Secure your future is have a plan at all times. know that things may not go according to plan, and that's okay, because God might have something bigger in store for you. But something I've always lived my life by since the time I had my son when I was 18 years old, I would take out a piece of paper and pen, and I actually would write out the plan, underline. This is how much money I have. This is how much I'm going to save. This is what I'm going to pay. And I'm going to save up this much money in 2 months. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I always had a plan. And because I always had a plan, I designed my life. And because I designed my life, my reality became what it is because I was always in control of it, right? Things are always going to knock you off course, and that's okay. So the way you secure your future is always have a plan and always think 2 steps ahead, period.
There you go. I just want to say I thank you for coming on today. I thank you for, showing up.
Yeah.
You look great. You're very intelligent.
Thanks.
And I'm just proud to, just be in this moment, and wherever you're going to go, which is, I think is, 10X. So congrats,
you.
and we're proud of you and keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This was awesome. Winning smile.
Let's
I
go.
appreciate it. You guys are doing an amazing thing. So keep it up. This is great.